what do you think the Indian government can do to deter that type of attack from China? Like, to kind of shatter their alternate reality, as you put it?
Shelley, I can tell you that, as I said, I have nothing to do with the government. But from my very limited knowledge of the government and my limited knowledge of the key personalities in the government, the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, the External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, the Defense Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh, I mean, from my very limited, interactions with them, I'd like to say that India is not looking for a fight. But at the same time, India, I think, is expecting a fight. Because it is very difficult through reason and through logic to break through alternate reality. Especially when people around you are telling you that you're right, you're right, you're right, you're powerful, you're mighty, everything is going your way. It's very difficult to break through that. So we are quietly creating facts on the ground. We are quietly creating logistical chains. We are quietly creating intelligence networks together with some of our close friends or friendly countries. And I think we are developing a fairly warm relationship. I mean, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were very negative about Modi before they came to power. They completely changed once they came to power, and they read the tea leaves. In other words, from the national security documents. India is indispensable to the United States for a free and open Indo-Pacific. And you are indispensable to us for us to maintain that. And it is indispensable for the Sino-Russian alliance that India and the United States not enter into a defense relationship. So if they see us moving into a defense relationship, they might decide, okay, the time has come, knock these guys out now, before it's too late, before that relationship deepens. The only point is, we have a tradition in India of oral communication. And I was telling Matt before the show, our entire nuclear and space program, most of the key decisions and commands were transmitted orally. Hardly anything was in writing. And the one reason was you had the CIA, you had the Chinese Secret Service, you had the Europeans, everybody looking in and trying to block the Indian nuclear program. Well, we developed a pretty effective nuclear weapons program and a pretty effective space program. Satellites, etc., the whole thing. So we have that kind of a tradition. Let me say that publicly, not much is said by either Washington nor Delhi, but I think I'm reasonably happy that I think we are coming close, because I believe an India-US alliance on security and defense is essential in the 21st century to confront a power that frankly does not recognize any limits to itself. Now, let me say, I've been in newspapers, as you're also in the media. Now, the top newspaper in a market, in India at least, 60 to 70% of the advertising goes to the top newspaper. About 70% of the balance goes to the second newspaper. The others share the balance, which is very little. So the Chinese are unhappy at the immense leverage that America has got by being number one. For one thing, the dollar is the world reserve currency. You can print to your heart's content. Donald Trump printed to his heart's content. Joe Biden is printing to his heart's content. And if I may say so, I strongly support that infrastructure bill. I think it'll be a good bill. And because the US dollar is a reserve currency, you guys will be able to afford it. You can do it. But the fact is, the day China takes over from you, and they're building the digital RMB, they're trying to, kind of demonize the dollar. You look at Russia television, RT. Chinese television is more careful. Russian television constantly demonizes the dollar and says the dollar is about to collapse. It's going to have a reset. Now, once they become number one, all that advantage they feel will come to them. And it is a huge advantage to be number one. You will appeal to a lot of countries. You will quieten down a lot of countries. You will get away with a lot more. So they want that prize from the United States. They are working for it, and they don't want to stop until they get it. So let me say that, we are not the only country that is at risk. And those who believe, conciliation, talks, compromises will get you anywhere. The reality is when you've got a fixed agenda and you're working like a metronome, with metronomic regularity with this alternate reality, any conciliation will be pocketed as due. You're only giving me a little bit of what is due to me anyway. So much more is due to me. It's not generosity at all. It's good sense on your part. And if you're more sensible, give me more. So the reality is that our chaps understand that very, very well. Certainly the top people in this government understand it very well. And I'm not privy to what's going on, of course, but I'm reasonably certain that Washington, Delhi, Canberra, Tokyo, London, various capitals are coordinating as to what is to be done to meet this challenge in common. And I therefore still believe that, there will be a nasty surprise waiting around the corner once this alternate reality challenges reality.
So I'm curious. You're saying the two things that will most likely make the Chinese side start a war or start some kind of conflict is India becoming a economic powerhouse and or India joining the U.S. in some kind of military alliance. But you also say both of those things have to happen. So where does that lead us?
Look, it's India on track to become an economic powerhouse through smart policy. Don't forget, we threw the British out in 47 and we retained the administrative system because politicians who came afterwards found that very convenient. The colonial system makes it very easy to proceed against civil society, to proceed against private individuals and protect the government, whatever the government does, and to have the cloak of official secrecy, all the privileges of a colonial government, to retain that through the colonial system of administration and through retaining a lot of a lot of the other characteristics which the British left behind. Now, this was British law, not for the British people, not for a free people. It was British law for a colonized people. And that's the law that we've had in India. And that's the law that's prevented our country from really accelerating to the rate of growth that the talents in India, would permit. But now, as I said, younger people are coming in, especially this century, and newer institutions are coming in. The digital world is coming in a big way. And as a consequence, government is being left behind, in a sense. And you have a prime minister who's openly saying, minimum government, maximum governance. I don't want to stand in the way of this. So this is something that is worrying the Chinese.